Good afternoon, Cross Timbers. Today is February 1st, 2013. This is Texan News from the Tarleton State University campus in Stephenville, Texas, and I am Sam Townsend. In today's headlines, police continue the search for the gunman who shot and killed Texas prosecutor Mark Hass. The first blood drive of the year on the Tarleton campus was a huge success. 2013 Super Bowl in New Orleans promises to be the greenest yet. The Tarleton men's baseball team will have their first game of the season tonight at 7 p.m. against Arkansas Tech. Timbuktu rejoices after French militias release of Islamic rule. Poor weather conditions in Detroit, Michigan caused a mile-long pileup on Interstate 75 that killed at least 3 people. Now, today's top story. In Stephenville news, Tarleton's plans to tear down residential facilities Bender and Ferguson in order to renovate nearby streets has been confirmed. According to Janice Horak, Assistant VP of Marketing and Communication, Bender and Ferguson, 2 of Tarleton's oldest residential halls, will be demolished. After the 2 buildings have been demolished, the dangerously curved streets at the intersection of Lillian Street will be straightened out. After the streets have been renovated, plans for a new business and agricultural building will begin to get underway. Now for the news on campus. The first Carter blood drive of the year happened yesterday, January 31st, in the Thompson Center, Ballroom C. The blood drive was run by the Chemistry Club, Tri Beta, the Biology Honor Society, and AED, the Pre-Medical Honor Society. The student organizations running the sign-up table felt the day to be a success, but no data has been received from the Carter Center yet. We will have a follow-up story next week with further details. Students passing through the Thompson Center to get to the blood drive were also given the opportunity to sign up for the National Marrow Donor Program, Be the Match. Sponsored by Cook's Children's Hospital in Fort Worth, participants filled out a form with their information and then were taken to a table to have the insides of their cheeks swabbed. If the DNA of the student matched the patient, they would help by donating bone marrow or stem cells. Many Tarleton students took the plunge and signed the forms Thursday afternoon after hearing information from the sponsors there. Now, today's Texas national and international news from the Associated Press. Texas prosecutor Mark Hass was shot and killed Thursday about 9 a.m. outside of Kaufman County Courthouse where he worked. The victim was walking from his car to enter the building when a masked gunman shot him multiple times. It is unclear whether he died at the hospital or on the way there. The suspect or suspects are as yet unknown, but were believed to have fled the scene in an old brown or silver Ford Taurus. Police urge citizens to bring forward any information they may have. In national news, at least 3 people, including 2 children aged 9 and 7, were killed in a series of crashes that ran a mile down the length of the southwest portion of Detroit Highway 75. Police say conditions were extremely poor when the pileup happened. Ice and slick roads, in addition to poor visibility, were the main culprits that started the pileup. At least 13 people were taken to the hospital, and many others had to be treated on the scene. Names of the victims, including the 2 children, have not been released at this time. In international news, Timbuktu revels in its new sense of peace and freedom in the 4 weeks since French commandos ended 10 months of Islamic rule. When Islamic radicals seized the northern half of the Mali last year, they imposed rules restricting the ways women dressed and socialized. Women were no longer allowed to interact with any men. Many things were banned, including smoking, drinking, and listening to music, and every woman who wasn't properly covered, from pregnant women to old ladies and small girls were cruelly beaten. On January 11th, the French military launched an intervention to oust the Islamists. This movement drove them quickly back, forcing them to retreat in less than 3 weeks. The people have since returned to normal. Now for today's sports news. According to the press release on the New Orleans Super Bowl website, this year will be the greenest Super Bowl ever thanks to changes in energy use, recycling, and more. The press releases also say of the 1,400 cities that applied, New Orleans was one of the 3 cities to be chosen to receive grants from the U.S. Department's Transportation Investment Generating Economic Recovery, or TIGER, grants. In other sports news, the Tarleton men's baseball team will start their 2013 season tonight at 7 p.m., according to tarletonsports.com. They play Arkansas Tech in Houston at Minute Maid Park. The Texans will have 3 games in Houston this weekend. And in weather, today's forecast calls for mostly sunny skies with a high of 61 degrees and a low of 43. Saturday should bring much of the same with clear skies and a high of 65 degrees and a low of 40. Sunday will see partly cloudy skies with a 10% chance of precipitation and a high of 68 degrees and a low of 51. Today's broadcast was produced by Ann Traub, Monet Gerald, Kendra Gear, Ashley Eller, and Tatiana Clemens. You can follow Texan News Service on Facebook and Twitter. Also check us out on www.texannews.net. I'm Samantha Townsend. Tune in Monday for the latest news from the Tarleton State University campus in Stephenville, Texas.